Yeah. Let me start off by greeting members of the media. Good evening. It was a difficult game against a good opponent. A team that, even though they didn't have much to play for, they still put up a brave fight and worked very, very hard and did their best to represent their people and the country. So congratulations to the football club Mamelodi Sundowns for qualifying for the quarterfinals, and congratulations to the players, the technical staff, and everybody associated with the club. It was a good performance. I thought really in most moments I was quite happy with a lot of the things we did on the pitch. One or two things that I wasn't happy about, and unfortunately we didn't keep a clean sheet, but there were a lot of very good things that I liked, and even the individual performances, some of them were very, very good, especially because some of the players hadn't played for a very long time. But good. Pleased with the result and pleased with the number of points from a very difficult group.
Thank you, Coach. Members of the media, it's your opportunity to ask questions. If you could raise your hand, identify yourself as well as your publication, please. Start your news.
Congratulations on the victory today, Coach Rhulani.
Thank you, sir.
Mokwena from Mokwena. I wanted to find out today, a lot of the time games after international breaks, they can be tricky. Is it all about just getting the 3 points and seeing it through more than anything than looking at the overall performance of the squad and how they performed on the match?
Yeah, it's tough, especially when you have so many internationals, because you don't have a lot of time to work on preparations. But that's why we work so hard during the training sessions that avail themselves. And as you know, we only received the Bafana players on Thursday for training. Brian was only back on Thursday for training, so and they couldn't do much because they arrived almost close to midnight. So this Thursday is gone. Match day -1 is Friday, so we couldn't have most of them. And then we have to use the squad that we have, and we've got a very good squad with very good players who happen to, as I always say, to be very good human beings. Not easy, but we are happy that we're able to play well today. I was happy with the performance today. There were some very good things, and happy for the boys to pick up a win.
Thank you, Coach. Do you have any other questions?
Coach,
Sure.
On Thursday, a question was posed to you about the midfield, and you said you might not play 6, you might play deep line. And in the first half, I think I saw Mbule win at least 6 or 7 aerial duels.
Yeah.
But the way he was interchanging with
Pizzo.
You won 70 duels in total today and 20 aerial duels, and I think Mbule won most of those ones. Was the plan to have them like interchange the way they did? Because it almost seemed as if they were both at the right time in the right place most of the time.
Yeah, well spotted. It's difficult to ask Blesser to help us to win, and Cottonspur is a little bit different because they go a little bit direct from the keeper, and then you need the height. So what we would ask them to do was we'd have Mbule screening for the direct balls that come from their goal kicks, but we would then have a double pivot when we were in possession, because we want to progress, and that's why today you didn't see too much inverting from the fullbacks, and so the movement to overload the center had to come from Blesser, Pizzo, Kulisi. and then also the second option would be Mbule, a little bit closer to the centre backs. But they were very good. Not an easy concept to work on with a couple of days, but with video footage and today we tried to play a little bit of a square and not a diamond in the midfield, to try to have propelled eights right in front of the sixes, if you want to call. So you'd have a Sipho, you'd have a Kulisi, and then you would have possibility of having Alende and Neo propelled just behind the two strikers. But look, we change a lot during games. We try to use a structure it's not always about the formation for us. It's about trying to find a structure that allows the players to be comfortable, and I thought we were very comfortable on the pitch today. The goal comes from Terence in a comfortable situation that he finds himself in, and just a little bit unhappy that we didn't play for the 2v2 a lot, like that goal that we scored, something that we prepared and we wanted to work on. And when those situations happened in the first half, either we didn't identify or the strikers were not in the right positions, But good, I'm proud of the team. Tactically, we were very good today, and very proud of the shift from the players.
Thank you, Coach. We'll come to you now, Mr. Cleason, after Veli.
Yeah. Coach, congrats once more.
Sure,
on the victory, double victory. Yeah. Also a first start for Abdel. Can you talk more about how he's applied himself and also the importance of adding the minutes and making the legs stronger on most of the players that we fielded today?
Yeah. Look, as I said, I think there was some very good performances today. I thought Riyad Peterson was good, build up, clean, good decisions, very sober. I thought Grant in a position that he's played in the past for SuperSport, but it's not a position that we've used him quite a lot in, and we needed him to feature there because we had Sailor out with the flu and Tapelo with the mileage with the national team, so we couldn't have Tubbs today. And then I thought Rush was good also after a very, very long off-lay. Sipho was good, very aggressive in the duels, very, 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 and that's one of the things I think he has to work on. But today was very, very good with intentionality. I don't know if you understand the very intentional with his usage of the ball, and Pizzo was good. Now it struggled a little bit to find the space, but it's also got to do with the structure of the opposition and maybe the tweak of the formation a little bit, where we didn't really play him as an 8, played him as a double 10, and normally we only play with 110. Or if we do play with 8s, we play with 8s a little bit further this way, and so there was not a lot of space, like the normal space that he finds. And then I thought also the distances between the 8s or the 10s to with the strikers it's not a game that he enjoys. So it was a little bit difficult for him. Hashim I thought was good, made some good movements in the first half. Hashim is not one of the players that you see a lot of actions with the ball. He's a player that gives a lot more off the ball in space creation and possibilities to find depth, which I liked a little bit more today. And Cassius was good also, especially in the second half. Cassius I thought played very well in the second half, and AB was good, as you say. Sometimes I don't, and deliberately so, I don't praise individual performances because football is a team sport, and but for a performance like that, you need some very good individual performances, and AB was definitely one of them.
Coach, can I ask now about the knockout stage?
Sure.
We have a little bit of the Man City syndrome perhaps looming over your club, and you have three quarter-final defeats in a row. Do you perceive it as a bit of a problem? Does it worry you now as you look ahead to the quarters that this is there a mental block at Mamelodi Sundowns about the knockout stages of the Champions League? And if so, in your mind, what are you doing to try and negate that?
Well, I've pleaded from day one, maybe since the change in the leadership, and I've said we have to be a little bit fair to both groups. There's a group that, and we find ourselves in a moment of transition, even though it's been a seamless and quite easy on the eye. But if you look at the makeup of the squad, you find a squad that's got less than 200 put together, 200 Champions League appearances. A lot of the players that you find on this pitch, even today, are players that play their first Champions League for Sundowns with the pressure of having to win. And this is after maybe coming from Rhulani into that space where you had Rhulani and Dennis, and now you've got Rhulani now leading in the goals, and this is Rhulani's first Champions League. You've got a player like Mokwena who played bit and parts last season, but this season is playing big games and starting big games with big responsibility. Marcelo Allende, Cassius, Mailula, first Champions League. Kuliso played parts of it last season, and but this time he's the regular right back, and he's got this pressure. So we are moving into a space where we have to be fair and patient with this group, because it's a group that shows lots of promise. But it's a group that has to be given fair opportunities to be able to make their own mark and write their own history and create their own legacy in the club. And just like the squad that delivered the Champions League, before delivering the Champions League, I can remember how many times we tried, and we tried, and eventually, even when we did win Champions League, if you remember, we were eliminated out.
Twice.
Exactly. So you have to be fair to that group, and you have to be fair to this group, and give this group also its fair amount of support and chance to be able to live its own football story. And I strongly believe that this team eventually will win Champions League, this group of players. When will it happen? I can't play God. But I know that every single day we work towards this objective. We put in the work. Today we play Cotton Sport. People could easily think we come in and we use the analysis that we had before we went to Cameroon, but no chance. We go right into their performances against both home and away against Al Ahly. We go into their performance against Al Hilal, and we see every single player that they've used, and we check the notes, and we work just as hard. But that is because the universe only responds to that. The universe responds to work ethic, and it's the only language that it understands. What happens after that is again also the divine. But I do believe, and I know for sure that this team will definitely deliver. When it delivers, I don't know, but we work for it every single day to make sure that it's sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, my colleague really I want to ask on a double congratulations. I think we'll be feeling in the opportunity if we don't ask him to touch on the GSTV Premiership staff as a champions now. How fulfilling it is for the group and also for you personally. You have been important to this process. And also the news came a little bit earlier before this match. How did you manage the dressing room so that there's not more of a celebratory mood focusing on what was in front of them before this Champions League?
Yeah, it was a very good question. In fact, it was a bit difficult because we live in such a digital space and social media space where players, whether you like it or not, players will know the situation because it's posted on the social feeds, and So my speech to them before the game was congratulations, because you guys know about it. But now you've got and really is something that they need to be congratulated for, because and you go and sometimes maybe in South Africa it's downplayed, and maybe it is we are victims of our own success, where people undermine the difficulties of winning a Premier League, a league title. The league title is the hardest in any country to win, because you've got to play against 15 opponents, both home and away, and the competition lasts 8-9 months. There's no competition in any team participates that is as long as it's domestic competition, the league title. And so sometimes maybe because of the way it may be perceived, and when people start to think it looks easy, that's actually when it is the most difficult. And today's game was just one of the exams that we had to pass. One, we had the psychological block of not being in a celebratory mode because of the championship, which was a very difficult championship. And even though people may not think, but it's so difficult to have that level of consistency. That the level of consistency that this group has shown over the number of games that we have played, and to deliver and win and win and win and win and win without getting tired, it's not easy. Because what normally happens, and this is normal with human beings, is that there's an element of complacency that easily creeps in, and to not allow for that to stay at a very good competitive level from a mental perspective is extremely difficult. And so that's why I always say in my press conferences that not a lot of appreciation is given to this group for what they've done this season. And if there is a little bit, I don't think there's enough. And the second psychological barrier for this game was everyone was labeling it a dead rubber. There's nothing to play for. Both this team is qualified, the other team is out. And that is difficult, because now you've got a group of fans that comes with the Yellow Nation for a 9 o'clock kickoff. You must understand the one from a safety perspective, how much of a risk this is, especially in the times that we are living in, with a lot of load shedding and the lack of safety on the roads and things like that, and to get this type of capacity. And then for us to play the match for dead rubber and play, excuse me, you know what I mean. So we had a lot of challenges today, and that's why I'm very proud of the performance, because it's a performance that shows a lot of respect for the sacrifices, both financial, both health and safety wise, that the Yellow Nation showed to be able to pitch in numbers like that. And for us to perform like that is indicative of the amount of respect and appreciation that we have for our people, and that's why I'm very, very proud of the players and proud of the effort that they put in on the pitch today.
Thank you, Coach. We'll wrap it up with one last question.
Coach, just want to go back to a point we spoke about before the game, because I think that was fascinating, and I think in a way we come from a background in especially in the Champions League, where a team that was going further in the Champions League would suffer in the league. But with Sundowns, it's something different. You win the league now with 7 games to spare, and maybe it's also due to the methods that you are employing. So I wanted to chat about the next stage, because it looks like you are going thorough in terms of your preparation. I know that we will know more. We know now it's 6 North African teams. It's 1 team in the COSAFA, which is Sundowns, and then Simba. We'll know more about the positions by tomorrow morning. But what was the idea behind the strategy that you employed this weekend?
it's just a culture. It's the culture of the club. It's a culture that was created before I was appointed, and it's a culture that I have a responsibility to try to carry on. And so we are a team that believes in excellence, but excellence is only bred through preparation and consistency. And so delegating the responsibility of 4 of our analysts to travel and to go and scout and assess the Champions League opponents is just something that was done even prior to me being appointed as head coach, and something that has helped the club achieve good results in the past in the Champions League. And so our responsibility is to try to continue this way. And as I said, it's just a Sundowns culture, and it would be ill of me to take credit for that.
Which is just to which games?
We have 4 analysts out. They were at the Raja game yesterday. Without, from the top of my head, but what I know is I can't give you exactly the matches from the top of my head, but I know that they've gone to they'll give me documentation of 6 of the 8 quarterfinalists.
Thank you, Coach. Members of the media, that brings us to the conclusion, Coach. Once again, congratulations, and we wish you all the best.